All right, so let's look right into this. Michael Irvin, Cowboys firing Mike McCarthy would be an emotional driven mistake. That's from the playmaker. And we all know the playmaker, baby. You talking about emotions. Shoot, he's the guy with the emotions, right? Right. But here's the reality of it, Cowboy Nation. How do you guys feel? Should, that's the operative word, the Cowboys keep Mike McCarthy or get rid of him? Now, this will be going into his third season. First season 6-10, second season 12-5. One can argue he improved, right? That's a drastic improvement between 2020 season to the 2021 season. So we're gonna have to see how this 2022 season rock out. 12-5 is nothing to sneeze at. Now I get it. A lot of people will say, "Man, 6-0 in your particular division, that's just what it is, right?" Those against teams that you should win against, right? Winning a playoff game is everything. And I've said a couple of weeks ago that Cowboys in Super Bowl, we need to hush it, right? Cowboys winning a playoff game should be the goal, right? You can get to the playoff, but Cowboys winning a playoff game need to be the goal. Now, we can look at it and say, all right, this will be the third year for Mike McCarthy. We need to see this improve. We need to see that improve. One can argue this. The defense improved. Was that all Mike McCarthy? No. That was Dan Quinn, right? That was his philosophy and his scheme and everything else, right? But you got to give kudos to Mike McCarthy because he the one that enabled this defense to be the way it is. I believe in the hearts of hearts that the coaches work with each other. Now, just as we praise Mike McCarthy for that, we got to look at this offense. Number one in total yards, number one in points. Don't get you anywhere, right? You got to come up with a legitimate scheme, a philosophy on the offensive side of the coin, and we came up short. One can argue that if you're looking into the playoff now, man, these playoff teams are way, way ahead of us, right? As far as how they approach the game, they're prepared, the readiness, and all of that. So it goes to this right here. Do you guys agree with Michael Irvin, or do you guys disagree? Because some people can see it happening before it happened, right? That, man, Mike McCarthy, you came to this organization to improve this organization for playoff wins and playoff wins to get you to the biggest of the biggest stage to dance. You came here with the ideology, right, to be a quarterback whisperer. Now, I'm not saying that this particular quarterback regressed or what have you, but there got to be something that we can look back on and hang our hat on, right? And for the 2021 season, the previous season, the only thing that Cowboy fans can hang their hat on, pretty much Micah Parsons, this defense, the way they flew out to the ball. I know a bunch of you guys will say, man, can Mike McCarthy and elevate Dan Quinn, for crying out loud? Let him be the head coach, right? So it goes to this right here. With Kellen Moore drawing up the plays, the schemes, and whatever scheme that he did or the system that he brought about. Is this enough? Mike McCarthy, should you say to yourself, hey, I know this is my second year coaching. Hey, we went on this run. We 12-5. There was a mess with the offensive line. There was a mess with our running back not being able to hit certain holes or what have you, or get spacing. But at the end of the day, he was still able to hit 1,000 yards. And if you're talking about style points, that would be it, right? And let's look into this quarterback. Since the Denver game, the quarterback, it's been a lot of highs and lows, right? A lot of questionings, a lot of people changing their allegiance to this team. And lo and behold, the head coach supposed to reel everything in, stop the bleeding, right? somehow put a Band-Aid on it, right? And I ain't saying that you mask up some things, but coaching, find ways to elevate, right? We've been saying this for many of years. So I've read and I've seen many of people say this right here. It's time to move on from Mike McCarthy for this one reason: preparation. The prepared mind. Regardless of whether or not it's an emotional aspect of it, those boys were nervous. Those boys were nervous in that first playoff game, a home game, and you allow that nervousness to rest in, to settle in. They don't fare well with a lot of people that don't. So what will you do for the 2022 season? What are your plans of actions? How would you prepare this team? Because somebody can literally say this team should be a little bit ahead of what they did this previous year if they were just prepared, right? Preparation is everything, and I ain't talking about H. So, Mike McCarthy, get your mind together. This season right here is everything for your legacy. Now, there should be a lot of opportunities for people to insert, hey, what about this coach over here? What about that coach? If you bring him in, he could do this. But he is under contract, Mike McCarthy. So if there's any way that you can look into this thing and say, all right, we're going to honor his contract, that's okay. You can honor the contract, but still do the evaluation process, meaning that if we see some of the same issues we seen last season and the season before, that's clock management, that's readiness or preparation, then there's problems, right? Because now what collectively happened is beating every team in your division is not good enough. And I know, I know, baby, that this particular team is graded harder than any other team in the National Football League. But that's just what it is. Heavy is the crown, right? So 12-5 is the floor. You got to improve and be better than 12-5, right? Because even if you go 12-5 again, people are going to say, hey, you went 12-5 last year. One and done is not the solution. Right? Even if you win 13 or 14 games, people still going to say, hey, you didn't win a playoff game. And that's not good enough for Cowboy Nation, right? So post me your thoughts, post me your concerns about what Michael Irvin said. Would this be an emotional firing if the Cowboys fire Mike McCarthy? Do you guys agree with that, or do you disagree? As simple as that. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. DC for life. Salute.